Next question, what was your Ranger School recovery like and how long until your numbers were what they were? Yeah, so let me start off by saying a lot of people are going to tell you about their own experiences, and I'm also going to tell you about my own experience because that was the question. But I will also make sure to annotate things that are potentially different from my experience that you may experience and that are different from what other people may claim to what is possible. So a lot of people will say that it takes a certain amount of months to get back to where you were, or and it may be something like 4 months, maybe something like 6 months, it may be something like a year. I've even heard people say that you can never get back to where you were before. And yes, Ranger School is very, very stressful on the body in multiple different ways. So you're going to be very, very weak and very depleted, and you're not going to recover well, and you're going to struggle to get your nutrition in check afterwards. That's just the nature of it. However, if you go in with the mentality of, oh shit, I'm gonna have to wait 6 months, I'm gonna have to wait 8 months, I'm gonna have to wait a year until I get back to normal, then you're just more likely to actually see that play out, see that result in that scenario play out. So you want to go in with a mindset of, I want to get back quicker than what most people say is possible, but also with a caveat of, I understand that it's going to take a little bit of time and that if I try and get back, if I force it and try and get back as quickly as possible, then that is also going to reduce my chances of getting back quickly because there's a reasonable way to go about it and there's an unreasonable way to go about it. And you want to go about it reasonably, or else you're probably just going to hurt yourself or overtrain or over fatigue yourself. And it's just going to slow you down because you're going to have to just dial it back or take hiatuses, whatever it may be. So I was pretty fit, strong, solid at running and rucking before I went to Ranger School. I did not train for it. I got like a week notice before I went, so I didn't really have any time to train for it. But my training at the time was such that I was ready to go and smash the first few days that are all the physical events. So that's wrap week. You do the Ranger PT assessment, whatever it may be. When I went, it was push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, and a 5 mile. And there's some other stuff throughout the first week that you have to do as well. And then towards the end of the week, I think it was like day 4, day 5, you do a 12-mile ruck. And the 12-mile ruck is like 35 pounds dry. It's not that bad, but they smoke the shit out of you the night before and they make you eat an MRE. I'm not joking. 5 to 10 minutes before you step off a full MRE, you have to eat all of it. Well, you want to eat all of it because like that's one of your MREs throughout the day and you're just already pretty hungry at that point because you're not eating enough. So I wouldn't expect to get like a PR on the 12 mile, but you just have to do it under 3 hours and it's pretty easy. That was my worst ever 12 mile. I think I was like 207 or something like that, which, is 53 minutes underneath the cutoff time. But usually I was well under 2 hours for most of my 12 milers throughout my career. But either way, pretty fit going in. I was pretty strong going in. We did a fitness competition as a company in 10th. I was at 10th group at the time. We did a fitness competition at the company and I squatted like 445, deadlifted 560, and bench press I won't even mention. It was like 285 or something like that. It was I'm not never been a good bencher. And then we did a 6 mile run and a 7 or 8 mile ruck or something like that, both of which I performed pretty well on. And then like a week later I went to Ranger School. So that was where I was at before I went. And then I believe I ran my 5 mile in like 31:30 or something like that. And I did my 12 mile, like I said, in like 207. Did fine on the push-ups and the pull-ups. I got a good grader. He counted 49 push-ups, told me to get up. I literally didn't have to do an extra one, which does not always happen, but it was, kind of luck of the draw. So I was pretty fit going in. Afterwards, the first workout, I went back to the gym. I don't know exactly how many days after I got back it was, but probably within 3 days, maybe 4. I was back in the gym. I can remember this very vividly. My first deadlift session, I did like a full body workout, kept it what I thought was pretty damn easy. My first deadlift session, I did 225, so 300 plus pounds less than what I had hit the week before I went to Ranger School. And I did it for 3 sets of 5. And I was like, okay, that wasn't too bad. Like I pulled it pretty easily. Like I didn't feel super weak or anything like that, but I was sore and fucked up for like 6 or 7 days afterwards. So that is kind of an indication of like how depleted you are and how messed up you are and how just run down you are afterwards. The fact that I was sore for that long and just felt like I had gone through a spin cycle in the washing machine. After that deadlift session, I did some other stuff for upper body and stuff like that too. But I just remember being sore for about a week after. However, I continued to stick to it, and I continued to make reasonable jumps in weight, reasonable jumps in volume. Didn't really lose a ton of cardio. I definitely had some sore joints and wasn't running or rucking as well afterwards as I was beforehand, obviously. But you don't lose as much cardio as you do strength while in muscle while you're at selection or while you're at ranger school, just because you have a ruck on the entire time, you run everywhere. Yeah, you're very depleted, so you're going to be slower, but it cardio should come back faster so long as you don't just get right back into running and rucking and just smash your joints up. You want to ease back into that too. So if you ease back into it, you follow a reasonable plan and you are patient, but you also don't have the mentality of, oh my God, I'm fucked. This is going to take forever. It should come back in, depending on the person, 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 months. I think I was back to deadlifting over 500 8 or 9 weeks after I got done with ranger school. And because I had that strength prior to, because I wasn't just like getting up to a 500-pound deadlift for the first time, when you have that strength and you lose it, it comes back a lot faster. So instead of 225 for 3 sets of 5, for example, for my first workout, normally you would probably do 235 for 3 sets of 5 in your second workout, and then 245, and then so on and so forth. You can make bigger jumps. I wouldn't make bigger jumps like right off the bat. You want to kind of start conservatively, see how you feel, see how you recover, see if you're sore for a week afterwards. That should not be the goal. You don't want to be crazy, crazy sore. You're going to be a little bit sore, but you should not be like shooting to be messed up for several days after your first lifts. But eventually you can get to where you're making bigger weight jumps, adding 40 pounds to the bar, adding 50 pounds to the bar, whatever it may be. But that is usually not the first couple weeks. But because you had whatever strength you had prior to, you can gain it back much quicker. So definitely take it slow. Definitely listen to your body, but definitely don't listen to all the people who say you're completely fucked and it's going to take 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, whatever it may be to get back. Because if you do it right, you don't have to. The other thing I want to mention is the nutrition aspect. This is another thing that really messes people up. When you get back from ranger school, you're going to be ravenously hungry. And no matter what you eat, no matter how much you eat, you're going to want to keep eating. And it's totally fine to like give into that for a short period of time. But the longer you give into that, the worse off you're going to be. You're going to be more inflamed. You're going to put on a bunch of weight, which is just not going to help you with your performance in most areas of fitness. And most of that weight's obviously going to be water weight and fat. And that's just, not great for getting back into well-rounded tactical fitness. It'd be one thing if you were like a power lifter. Yeah, you want to be like kind of bloated and weighed down for certain lifts, especially if your weight class doesn't matter. But for a tactical athlete, you want to get back into like fighting shape. You don't want to like try and get super duper fat afterwards. So give yourself like a hard cutoff time. Maybe it's a week after, maybe it's 10 days after, whatever it may be, where you start eating like an adult again and get back on track with eating nutritious foods and not just gorging yourself all the time. It's very difficult, but after a few days where you like really nail it down and you're disciplined and you get back on track, it's easier because you start feeling better. Your joints start feeling better. You start feeling less inflamed. You don't look as chunky, and you start getting back into like being identifying as like a fit person, not like a ranger school recovery person. So that's my best advice for that.